Thank you. Thank you, Unity Band. Good morning. Am I on? No. Am I? Okay. I'm here. Okay. Thank you. I get the prize for coming the farthest this morning. That's what I say. If you're, yeah, it is a little low on the low side. Can we, Minister, Reverend, maybe push it up a bit? On there. Anyway, if you're here for the first time, thank you for popping in. I hope you got your popcorn. There we go. Whoa, okay, we can take it down a little. It's always about getting balanced, isn't it? Yeah, we're still a little heavy on that. Okay. Well, if you're here for the first time, you get to know that we are not a mistake-free church, but we are a blame-free church. We work it out. And our coffee bar is open during service. I also wanted to welcome those that are joining us online. We frequently get our friends in Jackson and in Bay City, as well as a few friends of mine up in Canada and some other people. So wherever you're joining us, either live or on YouTube, say hello in the YouTube chat box. That would be great. We are a prayer ministry, and we'd love to support you in prayer should you have concerns or celebrations. We have a prayer box over there. Our prayer team will pray with you for the next 30 days, and then we forward your prayer requests on to Silent Unity. And then over on that side, we have a prayer station if you'd like to do some more interactive prayer work. It is Arab American Heritage Month. It's the last Sunday, and as you go through these Heritage Months, it's a great opportunity to learn those things we didn't learn in school, because we are a multicultural nation, that's for sure. So with that, let's affirm our mission statement. We spiritually awaken to our oneness with God, with each other, and with all creation. This comes out of our vision, seeing a world powerfully transformed through a growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And we know that it's not having the right answer, that there are many paths, even though there's only one presence. So let's affirm together. The enlightenment of Buddha shines within us. The compassion of the Christ moves through us. The power of Jehovah strengthens and guards us. The presence of Allah surrounds and guides us. Wherever we are, the Tao is, and all is God. Greg's going to lead us in a song to join together in heart and in consciousness. You're welcome to join in.
I can feel it. I can feel it. Oh, your presence. Oh, your presence. I can feel it. I can feel it. Oh, your presence. Oh, your presence.
We just breathe that in, knowing the presence is at all places, at all times, and we are not only in it, but part of it. So we like to take this beautiful consciousness we're co-creating as a community and pray for ourselves, our neighbors, and our world. And, this was the 10th anniversary this past week of the Flint water crisis. So we just remind ourselves of those people that are still feeling the impact of what happened even a decade ago, and also maybe renewed reverence for our waters all over the world. Also, this past couple weeks have been like a throwback to the 60s and 70s with all the war protests on the college campuses over, it's just, so, as I was thinking about all this stuff that's going on, I kind of thought, really the intention for prayer is that our skies are free of bombs, that our lands are fruitful with food that gets distributed. There's so much malnutrition and starvation going on, and that humans, all of us, are acting from kindness. So let's just take a moment to feel that in our hearts, that we do have skies that are free from bombs, a consciousness that is free from attack and defense, that our lands are fertile, and there is an increased willingness from the soul of not only individuals but entire countries to share and connect. As we remember that humankind should be both human and kind to one another. So for these truths, for the great possibilities of a world that is more loving, more connected, more one, we say thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. So is Pam here today? No, okay. I didn't connect with her after I got back. We're going to welcome her as a new member, but we'll do that another week as we go into installing our new board members. So if the board members could come up here, that would be wonderful. Christine Shearer, our board president, Jeff Benoit, the vice president, Jill Denning, our secretary, Jane Close, our treasurer, Teresa Mulford, and Lucille Olson, members at large. Yes. They do a great and mighty work. So a couple things. One, I have some candles for you because you truly are a light. Yeah. And the lights are interesting because you can take the top off or you can put them back on. So thank you for keeping the top off and letting your light shine on that. And I also want to give each of you a rose. Because within every flower there's that capacity to come into seed to create more flowers. And that's what you guys are, you're seed planters.
Thank you.
I know. Because you do such wonderful work. Okay, with that, I'm going to invite you to do the board dedication. So it's up on there. I lovingly dedicate and consecrate myself to the will and the work of the Christ within me by supporting the minister and the community members with my prayers, encouragement, fellowship, and honest, loving response to their words and actions, by committing myself to work with the minister in building a harmonious leadership team and in honoring each member of the spiritual community. And through my conscious actions, I will support the spiritual, emotional, and financial well-being of this church. Recognizing God as our infinite source and power, we, the servant leaders of Unity Spiritual Center of Lansing, are anchored in the spiritual practices of meditation, tithing, and visioning. Thank you, God, for the opportunity to love and to serve. Now we have a little song, and the board will be singing this to you because you are the heart, and you're going to be singing it to the board, okay? And then we'll go into a we version of it. So we don't have you mic, so just sing out with gusto.
We are the
Thank you for being in service. Yeah, you're welcome. I was going to give them a test if they could tell what power each of the candles was for. We can do that at the board meeting. Okay, a little time for a little chatter at the table this morning. Question I'm putting forth is, what modes of transportation do you use for your spiritual journeys? What modes of transportation do you use for your spiritual journey? We're always on a spiritual journey.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
car to get here. That's a good one. I would say prayer and meditation definitely are vehicles.
That's a good mode of transportation.
Yeah, that's the obvious one.
I find mistakes are really good vehicles.
Sorry, what?
Mistakes are really good vehicles.
Definitely. It's like really loud today. Oh well.
Just when I think that I'm got it all down, and then I make a mistake, and then it's wake up, wake
Yeah.
up, yeah.
That
Yeah.
cosmic 2x4.
Yeah, I mean, ideally I like the soft, gentle ones, whether it be sitting in the silence or prayer, but probably some of the most effective are when I get hit with a cosmic 2x4.
Yeah. You don't get the message the first or the second time. You probably get it the third time.
I try to sometimes affirm I've learned all I need to learn through pain and suffering.
Now let's switch to other modes.
Yeah, gentle.
Yeah.
So I think we're about ready to,
Swing wide.
let's swing right the doors.
All right. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about light, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I've learned to keep it inside. Well, now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper life. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
Good morning. I'm LuAnne Champion, your platform assistant for today. Unity's daily word is inner peace, inspired by the Gospel of John. Peace be with you. We find peace in the beauty around us. A clear day, flowers swaying in the breeze, a gently flowing stream, all reveal the presence of God and reflect our inner nature. Lasting peace resides within our minds and hearts. If that peace is temporarily disturbed, if we are feeling out of sorts about our life or the situation of a dear one, we draw upon our strength and stability by turning away from outer circumstances and going within. We quiet the chatter of our minds, perhaps thinking of one of our peaceful places, imagining the breeze caressing your face and hearing a trickling stream. In this quiet state, we connect with our source and begin to feel a settling calmness. We consider our lives from this higher perspective and remain centered and serene no matter what is happening in our life or in the world. Let us affirm together, I call upon the infinite peace of the God within. Millions of Americans wake up to Hodakoth Kapt, a co-anchor on the Today Show. Born to Egyptian Muslim parents, Hoda has helped our country stay informed by chatting with American leaders, artists, and news correspondents. She is also a breast cancer survivor and vocal advocate for women's health issues. She understands the way to inner peace. She said, the days, months, and years eventually reveal, like a Polaroid, a clear picture of how significant events and decisions ultimately shape our lives. It starts within, then it's pictured out. So now let's all welcome Winnelee for some special music as we claim our inner peace.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a song entitled Morning Prayer by Karen Taylor Good and Stowe Daly. Before the craziness begins, I breathe deep and go within. Here I am, an empty cup. I pray, God, please fill me up. Help me see your grand design. Lead me to a quiet mind. Right now I have all I need. All that's left to do is breathe. Before the craziness begins, I breathe deep and go within. Here I am, an empty cup. I pray, God, please fill me up. Help me see your grand design. Lead me to a quiet and go within. Here I am, an empty cup. I pray, God, please fill me up. Help me see your grand design. Lead me to a quiet mind. One more time, I breathe you in before the craziness
And for those of you that don't remember, back in 2018, we adopted the creative process for that song, and we supported Still Good while they were writing it. So that's Unity's Still Good song, yeah. Our baby song, yeah, they had a baby song, we adopted it. Okay, so, I've been away on sabbatical for 3 weeks, and I kept thinking of that book, Eat, Pray, Love. And when you go on sabbatical, it's about renewing and rejuvenating, filling your own cup, and you kind of set intentions, for what's going to happen out there, and you have plans, and then reality happens, and, things morph. But then as I think about it, do they really change? Like, my idea was about getting away, and I was very brave and put a response on my email that says, when I get back, I'm just going to delete all the emails because I get excited. I'm going to miss something. Otherwise, there's going to be hundreds of emails, and I'll miss something, yada, yada. So if it's really important, email me after this date. But I peaked. And you know how good Spirit is? Day 2, I'm watching a little YouTube on my phone to go to bed, to sleep, and the screen goes black. The screen goes black. That's what I get for peaking. No, I'm in panic. I mean, isn't that amazing? You set the intention, but you have your own kind of vision what that's going to do. So it was a really interesting experience. I'm going to share some with you today because, if you look at the Bible, the whole Bible is about spiritual journeys. In the Old Testament, you got Abraham, he's got his herds and stuff wandering around until finally he takes up homesteading. This is their land. And then you have Moses, who takes this great journey to try to find the promised land. He finds it but never gets into it. And then after him comes Joshua, early representation of our Christ itself, that higher consciousness. And he's the one that represents a part of us settling in the promised land, settling in those prayers that have come into manifestation. And then you move into the New Testament, Jesus starts his ministry in the wilderness and then carries it through this. He's always traveling one place to another, walking or by boat or donkey, until finally there's the story of the miracles and the wonderment at the end. And after him is Paul, who never met Jesus, but he had this vision of Jesus. And his job, his ministry was visiting different cities. And we have these letters that he wrote to the different cities. So you can think about it, the whole Gospels and the Old Testament are all about these spiritual journeys. So they're represented certainly with people and places, but they all represent our spiritual journeys, changes of consciousness, growth times that we go through, setting out intention and having it look a little different than what we thought it would be at the beginning. So I'm going to start with modes of transportation. I took everything for the last 3 weeks. There's some pictures up there, but the plane, the plane is really fast, and it's never the same time in the plane because you're going across time zones. So right away you're entering into this kind of mystical land where you don't know what time it is or what day it is, or most of the time even where you are. Then we took the train one time, it was pretty steady, but boy is it bumpy. You try to sleep on that plane, that train, it's an interesting town. We got on buses, and buses, the people, I was in Vietnam and Cambodia, the people there are small. The seats are small in the buses, and it's hot and sweaty. That was it. And one day, at the end, we did take a car at one time, and it was lovely air conditioning, big cushy seats. That was kind of nice. But besides the major forms, we took We were on a junk boat. We were on a coracle, which are those big round boats. If you watch The Amazing Race, when they were in Vietnam, they were in those things. Kayaking, even that was kind of interesting. Tuk-tuks, which I love. They have this little motorbike and a thing behind it. And then the cyclos, which is somebody that seems much too old to be doing it in the heat, cycles you around the city, and you're not supposed to feel guilty. And a lot of walking, and I did find with walking, I don't think they make handrails in Vietnam, but they have a lot of steps, knee-high steps. Okay, you know, maybe you can get up them, but boy, coming down, you need a little help from your friends there. So we talked about what kind of mode of transportation do you take, you know, our spiritual journeys. We all have a variety of different things that really touch us and open up our heart. Sometimes it's personal experiences or life passages like marriages, celebration of life, graduations. We have these markers in our life that seem to propel us on our spiritual journeys. Sometimes it's about reading a book or taking a workshop or maybe just taking some time apart, sitting under the trees, listening to the squirrels, could be that. Little moments, music, art, any kind of those creative things. And we have all teachers that come from little kids to family and friends to sometimes it's just a stranger that you have this one encounter with on the street or at a store or something. And something happens that opens up your heart just a little bit more. So while we're over there, there's certainly the spiritual activity of eating. And it's really interesting because you don't drink the water there, only if it's in a bottle. You don't take ice cubes, only in a bottle. So there's a lot of street food that looks great, but it's questionable whether the Western stomach could handle it. And then if you go to some of the markets, natural, I'm going to call them, which means there's a lot of flies on the meat. It's all local. You know, these people are growing things in their backyard, raising animals, and they bring it out to these street markets. So eating is a really interesting experience over there. And what a spiritual experience it is, because you learn to trust the source. We try to trust the source in our spiritual life, but trusting the source of our food. Our tour guide would give us some suggestions of what our stomachs could handle in it. And then you get to try the unknown. One of the pictures there, we did stop at a market that was all insects. Tarantulas. Yeah, all insects. I did not try it. I was a chicken. My daughter did on video. But when you're there, you know, trying something you don't know. I had a salad made out of lotus bulbs, the bulb underneath the flower, and banana blossoms. I mean, it's just, try it. I could have lived on Burger King over there. They were all over the place. But you're in Vietnam, you're in Cambodia. You want to try. What are the natives eating? Also, the climate is so different. You know the food will support you in the climate. You can't layer it on top of there. And then to really learn to taste. The tastes are different. And the thing I found over there was that this flavor was subtle. You know, we keep a lot of hot sauces in our house, and spices. This was so pure, maybe because it's so close to the source of the food where it's created, to taste the subtleness of all these different little flavors intermingling. It's like you had to take the Western palate down a few steps so you could really appreciate the soft beauty of the food. I mean, it's just very interesting. And as much as it is interesting about what we're eating, what we learn from that, I think it's equally important about who we're sharing the meal with. When I was last here, it was Easter, and we did a breaking of the bread, you know, in that community. And as we had these meals, there was one night, my daughter and I succumbed to some street food because it was incredible lobster. And as we sat there eating it, there were all the people around us, and to be able to be in the atmosphere of where we are. You know, to take up, it was a night market with lights and all this fun. And I think, you know, back here, how many times, it's kind of like getting into the elevator where you don't look at anybody. You know, you go into a restaurant, okay, you have your table, and you pretend like nothing else exists. So to have that eating experience where you allow yourself to be in the communal environment, think what that does to us spiritually when we're having our own spiritual journey and we don't make it with boundaries. That it's open to what is going to flow through it. It's open to the wind that comes by. It's open to the water that comes through. It's just open to that oneness, to really feel that idea of oneness. Life is an activity of prayer. What I noticed about it, they so integrated their religion into everyday life. A lot of the buildings had little small altars or temples out in front. At night, as the businesses were closing, I didn't get it at first, in the gutter were bouquets of flowers there and fruit. And these were the offerings they had put on their temple in front of their business or their home during the day, and they threw them out at night into the gutter, be cleaned up, and they get new ones the next day. So it was just like, it wasn't church on Sunday and then business. It was this woven thread that went all the way through it. It was just a beautiful continuity of it. I think the continuity of their sense of peace and their sense of something bigger than them was most evident in traffic. There are more scooters in Vietnam than there are people. And as you can see, they're kind of loose about lanes on the road. And when I first got there, the Western mind says, oh my God, this is chaos. How do they operate? Somebody's got to get out there and straighten it up, right? But in a couple days, I found out that there was a beautiful flow. I didn't see one accident. And I got it that what the difference was, instead of being competitive, they were cooperative. We went on a little foodie tour, and I had this little tiny girl leading us, and she goes, okay, come on, crossing, right through the traffic. We're following her, because what are we going to do if we don't? But nobody hit us. They just go around us, as opposed to saying, I was here first. Can you feel the difference in attitude between competition and cooperation? Just an amazing feel, and you think, what would it be like? I think here at community, at Unity, we do have this sense of cooperation. We help each other. We want each other to be a success in whatever we're doing. Whether it's making coffee, planting a garden, whatever it might be, we want that cooperation. And to see it on such a large scale. There were no dents in the cars. And we're talking, there were Mercedes over there were Lexus, there were all these expensive cars, and tons of people on scooters with families, to be the father, 2 kids, and the mother going to work in the morning. Boy, that's a test of your faith. That is a test of your faith. So think about that when things seem really chaotic and you just put out your hand and go walking, and just know that a pathway is made for you. What a great reminder. It may seem like it's dangerous and chaotic, when in truth you just have to set that intention to go your way. One of the days we went to one of the temples, Angkor Wat, and it's the largest religious structure in the world. It's over 400 acres. And we went out there in the middle of the night with guides, and we sat there waiting for the sun to come up. And at first, all you could see were the peaks of the temples, and then as the sun came up, all of a sudden it starts appearing. It was a wonderful experience. And so we sat up on another structure within the temple, and it's daylight now, but as we're sitting there in the dark, and it's very quiet and very peaceful, there's nothing like that pre-dawn moments, when the whole world is just in that really peaceful, about to wake up stage. And we sat there, just really taking it in. As I'm sitting there, I realized there was something wrapped around my leg. I screamed. Shot my leg out, and it was a frog. That's the frog. And I felt so badly, because I've had a thing with frogs at FROG, full realization of God, fully relying on God. Here I kicked it away, and you want to have these experiences, these spiritual experiences, and they come and they scare the bejesus out of you, right? Not to mention the rest of the group. What is she screaming for? And I thought, boy, as we go through, we want to have that experience. We want to feel that presence. We want to have proof that there's something greater than us. And when it happens, how many times does it scare us? Do we back away from it? Do we kick it away? So what a beautiful reminder. And he just, even after I kicked him off, he just sat there down at my feet. And he stayed for quite a while and let me apologize to him and on that. So, those are those experiences as they come. The other thing I noticed over there was finding love in unexpected places. And quite frankly, as an American going to Vietnam, I was a little nervous about it. I went to high school in the 60s. My classmates went to Vietnam. And we went over there, to see this war. Like the northern Vietnamese had very primitive technology. They used nails and sticks, and I mean, there's nothing compared to what we had for technology in the United States at this time. We went out to a park where the Chu Chi tunnels, and these were the tunnels that the Viet Cong had dug. That actually, some of them came up even right in the middle of American Air Force bases. They would come up at night and take supplies. And these tunnels were quite small. You could actually walk in them. And it's just really interesting to think about this altercation between a very simple grassroots society and the American war machine, if you will. As we were out in the Chu Chi tunnels, they showed a movie from the viewpoint of what it was in Vietnam. They showed bombs dropping on kids in school. The families that were not part of the fighters. It didn't sound too much different than what we're hearing today about what's going on in Gaza. And then when they showed this movie, this line stood out for me. It said they hated American bombs, they hated American bullets. They did not say they hated American people. What an amazing insight. Hate the sin, not the sinner. That there was no animosity. And we had gone in there and destroyed temples and palaces to take over as army bases. I mean, we were in there for 10 years. That was after the French was in there for a number of years, doing their thing on it. And there was just, about finding love in unexpected places, it was just amazing that they could see beyond the act. And what a great lesson for us. Can we look beyond the act and into that Christed presence within each and every individual? While I was over there, I lit some incense for my classmates who hadn't made it home, and for those who had made it home that had served over there. And there was that really a time warp connection of it being the 60s, and today, and the difference, because they have rebuilt so much. It's a beautiful city. There's just these kind people that are all my height. I did like it. But I really found out that in my heart, there was still some unresolved issues from the 60s and 70s. I remember the frustration of not being able to stop this war. I remember the feeling of having college kids killed for protesting it in Kent State. There was just this awful horror, and those that came home, I mean, even now they are suffering from Agent Orange. My classmates are now getting all the illnesses that came from Agent Orange. So I really, you think you do your clean out, you think you do your forgiveness, and sometimes you find things that are in there a little deeper than you expected. So it was a wonderful time to be there with it in my face, of seeing the traps that they had set out for our American soldiers. That's a picture. My daughter's going down. They had these little holes in the ground, and they had a lid on top. It looked like nothing was there, and they could just pop up and shoot somebody. But it was really small. I mean, the tenacity to stay in this small, small space in this very hot, hot weather. They were really committed to their way of life, to their freedom, to what they thought was right, the Northern Vietnams. So we had all these weapons of personal destructions. So the North Vietnamese had, really primitive traps that were very effective and really tore up our soldiers. There were, traps within the ground that was hard to see. They had rotating things with nails on it that as you fell down in, it would tear up your legs. To get you out would be a terrible thing too. But then we retaliated with napalm bombs, where it stuck to people's skin and burned them. And of course, Agent Orange to defoliate everything so nobody could sneak up on us, not knowing how far they were underground. Interesting about these underground temples, or tunnels again on that. What Vietnam has done has some incredible rehabilitation centers. And those people that are suffering from Agent Orange and had lost limbs in the war, and even afterwards, and those that have disabilities, this is one of the centers. And that painting there is not a painting, it is done with thread. Needle and thread. All those pictures were done with needle and thread. It takes them hours. And as we went in there, it was very quiet. A number of the people there were deaf. But they've given them something to be proud of in their life. They've given people that we would say were disabled something that was meaningful and beautiful, and also a way to earn a living so that they were self-sufficient. It was just a beautiful thing to see. There was a number of different artwork places where people were being trained to carve wood, to carve stone, to perform. They had performance arts things that they were doing. The support of making sure everybody had a skill was just so amazing. And as I go back to my home and to us and our North American culture, you think when something is so beautiful, how could you incorporate it here? How could we support each other in that wonderful venue of learning a skill, of making things that are beautiful, of just being the creative force that we are, just being that creative force. I also found there were a few little rules I had difficulty with. Okay, first of all, the temples changed over the years. You see a lot of ruins. So there'd be a Buddhist temple, and there'd be a change, and it'd become Hinduism, so they'd tear down all the Buddhas, smash them, and they'd make new ones. And then it would turn back to Buddhism, and so they take down all those and smash them and build new ones. So there's this real changing nature of things. Today, most of the country is Buddhist with a number of Catholics. And what's very interesting in this Buddhism, Catholicism, there may be labels, but I saw that the Catholics had, they had their Catholic altar, and they have an altar for family. So even though that's not part of Catholicism, they had these home altars, very much like the Buddhist. So it's really more of a continuity as opposed to sides of a line. We do this or we do that. So I went and had 2 Buddhist blessings, one at Angkor Wat in the large temple, and then another one in Cambodia. But the Buddhist priest could not touch women. Breathe, Sharon. I mean, it's really strange to be a person that somebody's not allowed to touch, right? I mean, doesn't that make you feel weird? We went and got a Buddhist blessing there, and you see Dallas and I are sitting away from the priest, and there's a man next to the priest, because you can touch a man. And there the men got their blessing yarn on their right hand, and women got theirs on their left, which is very hard to tie and not touch the woman whose wrist that belongs to. But like I said, it's about getting beyond my idea of right and wrong. There's that field, I'll meet you there, to really just be in the moment and feel the blessing, feel the presence. Just forget the rules, the contingencies, those othernesses that we sometimes point out because it's different than what we're used to, and just be able to accept the blessings that are coming our way, just to appreciate right in that moment. And one of the most beautiful things I found over there is they have this religion, Tam Gyo. It's the triple religion. So they've taken some of the Buddhism, some of the Confucianism, some of the Taoism, plus some folk religion, the Vietnamese people, and they practice it all together. They just took the best and left the rest. And I love that they have that freedom, not to go by some dogma or dictates, but to bring into their lives that which makes them feel closer to spirit, to each other, to source, to creation. It was just such a beautiful, beautiful approach to spirituality. Wow. Labels are probably the most decisive thing that we've ever come up with. Like we're this faith or this political party or this social group or whatever that might be. So the culture I found extremely kind. And one of the artwork that you see quite a bit are these 3 hands. And basically what it is the first one is to plant. You plant the seed, and then it becomes a flower, and then the flower becomes a fruit. And I thought, yeah, isn't that nice? Plant, flower, fruit. And that's like our idea in unity about, we have the idea, divine mind, that comes into ours, into creation, until finally manifestation. So the idea of flowers in our mind, where did that idea come from? Somewhere, in the ethers. And that everything that we do, everything that we make, everything we create, it follows that process, the idea, the creation, into the manifestation. So I just thought that was such a lovely little flow to take into our lives. But then before I went to Vietnam, I had hurt my leg. I thought it might get better on the flight. It didn't, and then I tripped and I pulled this hamstring. And so when we were out in the Chu Chi tunnels, my daughter found this wonderful stick out in the woods. And this walking stick was so helpful because, like I said, they don't know the word hand railings there. And it was just enough to give me balance going down the stairs. Well, we're out of this island. I'm walking around with my stick that I'm very proud of because my daughter gave it to me. And all of a sudden, this artist that is there, he's a painter. He had a beautiful booth of his paintings. And there's some talking going on. I'm not understanding what it is. And he saw me with that stick and didn't think it was safe. So he went out back and cut me a bamboo stick, smoothed it off on top here, because he was afraid the other one would break. He didn't want me to get hurt. I had not even talked to this man. He just saw me walking by and thought I might get hurt. Yeah, it still gives me chills. I mean, I've never had anybody that didn't even know me do something that was so critical to my well-being without even being asked. And I think that's what happens when we allow ourselves to put down the labels, put down the walls, and you're just present, even though you don't know what's going on. You might be doing it wrong. You're doing the best you can. And this man I was just so touched. Not only that, it is a magic stick. Because when I went to the airport in Bangkok, the woman suggested I could use a wheelchair. And I went through all these big airports, and they wheeled me right through the passport update and everything else. So I call it my magic stick because that was a great way to travel. And the politics. You know, the Vietnam War was about the North was communist, the South wasn't, and they were afraid if Vietnam fell to communism, all of Southeast Asia would fall. This was the thinking at that time. But though it was a communist country, there's two flags. One is Vietnamese. The other one, anybody know what the other one is? The colors? That's the Buddhist flag. So when we think of communism, we think you can't have religion, and that's the Buddhist flag. And many of the vehicles had both on them, or different places that have both. There were no homeless people in Vietnam. They find purposeful things for everybody to do. Wow, yeah. The culture of self-sufficiency. In 1995, they gave every citizen a plot of land to grow their food on. The land cannot be sold. You cannot live on it. It's only for gardening. So, wow, boy, competition in the Western mind and cooperation in the Eastern mind. It was just amazing to me. Now, there was a lot of transparent corruption in government. I'm going to say transparent because everybody knew what was going on. When we went through customs, leaving Vietnam, our guide suggested we put $2 in our passport. It would make it smoother going through. We went from Cambodia to Thailand. They suggested that we want a fast track. It costs $15. But you don't pay in the government buildings, but there's somebody outside waiting to collect from you when you come out. Now, I will say this. It's interesting that it's transparent. Like, this isn't a big secret. Like, in the West, it's secret, right? So when I landed in Vietnam, I haven't slept for a couple days. Go through, give my passport, my visa, and the man walks me to the back. And pretty soon it comes up. My visa has the wrong date on it. It says April 11th, and this is April 5th, and I can't come into the country for 6 more days. My heart is just... my mind is going, this isn't right. This can't happen. This cannot happen. So they were going to send me back to Qatar. They were going to send me, I shouldn't even gotten on in Chicago. And I said, but my daughter, she's all the way from New Zealand. She's in a hotel in Hanoi right now. And so he said, well, maybe you could fly to Thailand. You don't need a visa there. And then come back on April 11th. I go, but we're on a tour. How do I find... And so finally we got to the point that I could buy a ticket to Thailand, a travel agent would get involved, but I didn't have to go to Thailand, I just had to stay there for $250. That's the best money I ever spent. Anyway, so it's, not to be so judgmental. We talk about corrupt governments or this or that, and there's advantage to a lot of these things that we go through. But the best thing I learned on the trip was from John Tans, our tour guide, and he says, people get all upset about the government, the politics, and all this stuff. He says, my dad says, just go out there and live your happy life. Don't think about that. I mean, don't think, just live your happy life. And that was just such a great That was what I brought back. Live your happy life, whatever that might be for you. So there is no place like home, but getting here was a little scary. You know, the rockets went off between Iran and Israel, and that's my flight path from Qatar, which is right near Saudi Arabia there, right between Israel and Iran. And I probably never said the prayer of protection as many times as I did during that flight, but it was a smooth flight till I got to Grand Rapids, and then I was going to get an Uber to pick me up, to take me to my car that was parked at the Unity Church there. I couldn't find the app. I said, what am I going to do? Well, of course I can't find the app because my phone broke. I had some refurbished phone I got over there, so in case I got lost, I could find out where I was. And so you're going, okay, you know, one more chance to just be at peace and go beyond all that, just be non-resistant. So I did get home. We're all home here together, and we're going to go into a time of meditation and blessing. It's going to be a little different today. On your table, there's some blue yarn. Yeah, that's what that little thing is for, in case you were wondering. And as we go into the meditation, I'm going to invite you, we'll get centered, and then I'm going to invite you to bless each other at your table, to tie a blue string. Do it on your left wrist because that's closest to our heart. The blue is for peace. Just create a little peace in here. So, okay. So y'all got your strings. Let's take a little moment before we do that and just get really centered. And so as we take a moment just to turn within, to allow ourselves to go to that place where there are not walls that keep ideas or people out, where there are not judgments that says this is bad or this is good, this just is. Where we understand whatever detours we end up in, whatever challenges that may appear, that we are always on our spiritual journey, step by step, thought by thought. And on this spiritual journey, perhaps our biggest lesson is to learn that God is not separate, but God is expressing through us. And so in that clarity and that knowing that you are the light, that you are part of that flow, I invite each of you to help each other with a blessing by tying a blessing yarn under the wrist of each other at the table. As you tie it on, that blessing of peace, that peace is all there is. As you tie it on each other, what a wonderful cooperative activity this is. As you acknowledge that your heart, your energy, your thoughts are as powerful and as beautiful as anyone else's. You are the heart, you are the hands, a blessing to the world. And so it is. Amen.
Bring me back to center. Bring me back to flow. Now my is all I know. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. In this moment I am home. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. In this moment I am home. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. In this moment I am home. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. Peace is all I know. In this moment I am home. Peace is all I know. In this moment I am home. Peace is all I know.
And make it so. Peace is all we know. Spiritual practice for the week. Live your happy life. You know, a spiritual pilgrimage can even be a trip to the store, as long as we're awake and alive. With that, I get to bring Winnie back up to let us sing some love into this world.
Live your happy life. And I invite you to sing this with me. You'll hear. You will hear me sing. Won't you sing with me now? That's the invitation. And then you get to sing love into the world. Cool?
Cool.
Let's do it. I speak love into the world. I sing love into the world. I speak love into the world. I sing love into the world. I sing love into the world. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world. I add love into the world. Yeah, I sing love into the world. I add love into the world. I sing love into the world. I sing love into the world. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world. I pray love into the world. I sing love into the world. Oh, I pray love into the world. I sing love into the world. I sing love into the world. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world. I send love into the world. I sing love into the world. I send love into the world. I sing love into the world. I sing love into the world. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world. Let the whole world sing love. 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 Let the whole. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world 2 more times. Won't you sing with me now? Sing love into the world 1 more. Won't you sing with me now? Yeah.
Now is the time we create a sacred circle of generosity by sharing of the blessings we have received. We know that the gift we give is not a debt we owe, it is a seed we sow from a consciousness of abundance. If you are donating by check or cash, place your gift in the glass jar on the table. If you're donating electronically or by other means, take a moment to place your hand over the jar or your heart. You can also use one of the affirmation tokens. We bless our gifts as we share of our love in our treasure by affirming together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I praise, give thanks, and am glad. Entering the circle of generosity, we thank everyone for their continued generosity of support of unity through many channels, electronically, by mail, and in person. Our circle of generosity includes acts of gratitude for these many gifts by sharing of our gifts with others. As you as a congregation voted to share our tithes for the second quarter with the Southside Community Kitchen, a group of local organizations who have gotten together to feed the hungry people of Lansing. We'll continue our blessings by singing, I Am So Blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful
like to invite Derek to lead us in the blessing of the gifts we've received as a community. Let us take a moment to deeply immerse ourselves in gratitude by collectively blessing the gifts received on your table. Would you please lead us?
Given in love, received in love, we dedicate these gifts to do will and work of the Holy Spirit, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, everyone. The Lunch Bunch is a monthly social group that meets for a no-host lunch. Friday, May 3rd, 1 p.m. We're meeting at the Coral Gables in East Lansing. If you plan to attend, please contact Nancy Clater or the church office so we can reserve enough seats. But if you become free at the last minute, drop on in. Every Friday night at 6:30, Refuge Recovery meets in the lodge. This group using Buddhist tools to support people in recovering from addiction. Meetings include some reading and meditation. This group is open to anyone working on addiction issues. Now the new May Unity Pulse is on your table. Please take one to use as a handy reference for the many classes and activities at Unity that are offered all during the month. Posters for events are on the information rack, as well as our website, unitylansing.org. So let us now stand as we're able to create our circle of consciousness as we sing the peace song, followed by the prayer of protection. Since cold and flus are reaching a peak right now, we encourage you, forget it, never mind, hold hands as you wish. As you wish.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God is within us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Thank you.